What do I do with your money? I think it's an important question to ask and an important question to answer because I often get asked questions about, well, why do you price things a certain way? Or what if you did this? So I want to talk about where my income comes from, what I do with it, and why it's so important. So let's start off with the what do I do with the income I get? Well, first of all, I always say that the paid content funds the free content. And I really mean that. I do 2 videos per week, and sometimes those videos take 10 plus hours to do. Think of that. That's a quarter of a work week spent just on free content. And actually now I have Dan doing some work as well on one of those videos. Fortunately, he can automate a lot of it, but it's still extra work that I pay for every week in order to put out free content. And speaking of Dan, he's the one that has added on the podcast. So now we have a podcast as well for you to listen to, as well as just watch on YouTube. If you hadn't checked that out yet, check that out. IamTimCorey.com and go to the podcast page. Now, I also have a full-time community manager, and that's Tom, and he spends his time fixing problems when they come up. He spends his time addressing issues. He's on YouTube a lot, leaving comments, making sure that I see the important things that you are asking about, or if you have suggestions for future videos, he records those. He did a lot of stuff with our community for free. Now, he does some of the work on the paid side as well, taking care of invoicing and all the rest, but there's a lot that he gives away of his time just because you pay for it. Now, we also with Dan get even better designs. If you've seen my older content and then look at my new content, you'll say, wow, those designs look a whole lot better. That's because of Dan. Dan's been taking care of me and making sure that I look a whole lot better than I really am. So that's part of what your money pays for. But not only that, we have some more stuff coming soon. I'll just briefly touch on these things because I don't want to promise too much. I want to make sure that we get out what we can when we can. But I just hired a new web designer, or web developer actually. And Noah's coming on board to help us build out more websites, a better website, first of all. Right now, our website is on Teachable, and there's some problems with it. We know that, and we're actively working to fix that, and part of that is bringing on a new web developer to help out with that. We're also going to be expanding out and creating full learning paths. This is actually a really high priority for us to lay out from start to finish what you need to learn, and we'll talk more about who gets that in the future, but those learning paths are a big priority for us. And that's part of what we can do because we have the income to support it. Now, we're also looking to add additional tools for better clarity, better training. These things all come with a cost, but we are paying that cost out of what we get for income from our channel. But I do want to point out one more thing that the income from the channel does provide, and that is salaries that are better than average. And not just for me. I mean, yes, that's great. I love having a better than average salary, but I'm able to provide my salaries for my employees that are better than average. And not only that, I can give bonuses throughout the year. And when we had a new position open and I did some testing or assessment of the last 3 candidates, I gave them a paid project to do because I believe in paying for a person's services, not just asking for free stuff from people. So you're paying the channel through a number of different things, including courses, helped pay for better salaries, bonuses, and for paying for applicants, doing the right thing. And that's important, I think, as a business, to do the right thing, go above and beyond just what's expected to what you should do. And that's what I can do because of the income from this channel. So that's what I do with the money. But let's talk about, where does all of my income come from? Well, there's three main sources. There's the course sales. If you go to imtimcorey.com, there's 30 plus course sales. There's the all access pass, which gives you access to everything, or you can individually buy courses with lifetime access. So that's the majority of our income. We also have money coming from Patreon, from people who said, and actually, I didn't want to do a Patreon at first. In fact, I actively said no to Patreon, but you kept banging my door down saying, we want to help support what you're doing. Because again, people have bought in, rightly so, into the idea of my paid content funds my free content. So I created a Patreon. I said, I'll try and do some stuff with it, but really this is not what I want to do. I want to give you something. I want to have more value come to you than you pay for. Well, Patreon has really grown in how much people have started to support there. And finally, there's the YouTube income from watching ads. And also now, if you've noticed, there is a super thanks button as well. People are starting to use that just to give a dollar or two here or there for whenever they find that, a video really helped them. Well, those are my three main income streams. Now, my channel has breached the 250,000 subscriber mark. So you may say, well, wow, I bet those ad sales are great. They are kind of, but it's 4% of my income. So it's not huge, okay? Patreon is another about 4% of my income. 92% of my income comes from course sales. So the vast majority of where I get the money to pay for all the things that I Am Tim Corey provides comes from course sales. So let's talk about that for a minute, because I often get pushback on how I price my courses. Some people say, well, my average course sale is about $97 for an individual course. Now, if you notice the foundation in web development, that's $500, $497. That's a lot more. But I tell you what, there's a lot more in it. But my normal one-off course is about $97. That's a lot of money. I totally get that. I totally understand that if you're paying out of pocket, you're not, getting it from your boss, you're not getting it from your company. That's a huge amount of money to invest. And one of the things I had a lot of people talk to me about was, well, what if you put your courses on Udemy? Because Udemy will give you a lot more exposure. You'll get a lot larger pool of people purchasing your course. And because it is priced per region and all the rest, that you will get a much greater quantity of people that will make up for the reduced price that you usually charge on Udemy. Udemy's courses, around $10 to $20 is what you'll pay for a course in US. And then you'll have your local regional equivalent of that. Well, I did that for a course. I took one course that would have been a $97 course, and I said, let's put this on Udemy. Let's see how we can do. And just to be clear, I was one of the top courses in the category. One of the top courses for C# development. My course was on the main page. It was promoted. It was a highly ranked course. It was a highly rated course. It was a high sales course. The end of that experiment, because I have ended it, and I brought that back to I Am Tim Corey. The end of that experiment, I did some calculations based upon another course that I sold on I Am Tim Corey that was very, very similar, and it would have been the same price point. The end result was that I lost $34,000 compared to if I just sold it on my own website. That's the difference. Yes, I had a lot more customers, but the problem is that I was actually averaging less than $1 per sale, because the way Udemy works, when they promote your course, you get 25% of whatever they bring in, not 75% and they take 25%. They take 75%, you take 25%. And when they put it into regional pricing, that means they try to make it cost roughly the same to a person in a different region as it would cost in the US. And so what that means is that I basically have to take a lot less from that course sale. And that's where the average of less than $1 per sale by the end was coming from, was people would buy it in a region where their currency did not stack up well against the dollar, and therefore the income from that was very, very small. So you may say, well, yeah, you say you lost $34,000, but did you really? And the answer is yes. And here's why. Because I got a lot of new customers, which means a lot of new paid support, but I didn't get the income to match. When you buy one of my courses, you get lifetime access. And that's what you get with Udemy as well. So you get lifetime access, which means really lifetime support, or as close as I can get it. Obviously, I'm going to die at some point. The company's going to go under at some point, whatever. It won't be forever, but I would try and get you as long as possible. And so it's been years and years of support. So how can I support for years and years and years on less than $1 per customer? That's a lot. And so when I bring in $97, I'm not looking at that as saying, okay, I'm bringing in 97, which is actually more like 90, but I'm not just saying, okay, that 90 means I get 90 today. I'm thinking about what that means for next year and the year after and the year after. Just saying, well, I'll sell courses then too, is a poor way of looking at this. Because what happens is, what if I do have a downturn? Or what if something happens where I can't sell courses for a few months? Well, I need to still be able to pay salaries. I still need to be able to support the community. And I have to do that with income that's no longer coming in. So I have to think long term, not just short term. So that's why I price the courses the way I do. I have looked at the value you get out of the course. And I said, okay, what value do you get? And how can I price that in a way that you pay less than the value? We're going to come up with we have a calculator we're going to release at some point that talk you through a couple different ways of looking at this. But let's just do a quick thought experiment here. If a course of mine helps you get a job a day faster, how much money will you make in that day? $50, $100? In a development job, you might make more than $100 a day. Well, that $100 could cover the cost of the course. So just being able to get you a little bit faster in a job, that's one day. It might actually be a whole lot more than that. Or what if it gets you a raise just that little bit sooner? So just looking at it from a dollar perspective isn't the full picture. The other thing is, and we're going to talk more about this in the future, but we are producing content of a quality that is greater than what you'll get at a university degree, and sometimes greater than even a boot camp. So with that, you get more quality for a tenth or 1% of the cost of those other options. So there's still a whole lot of value I'm giving you, definitely much more than what you're paying for it. But yes, I totally understand not everyone can afford that. But because some do, we're able to provide all the services we do. So I want everyone to get a great education. I don't just want you to add to your collection. People who have bought courses on Udemy, usually the thing they tell me is, well, I've got, I had a person the other day, I got 200 courses from Udemy. Okay, how many of you actually watched? Because I'm guessing it's not very many. So you bought them because they were cheap, not because you're going to learn from them. I don't want to be a part of your collection. That's not the goal of I Am Tim Corey. I want you to value what you pay for. I want you to get value out of what you pay for. So what's ahead for I Am Tim Corey? And I can't really reveal all of our plans here. There's some really cool stuff we're working on. We just had a team meeting a couple days ago where we went into a lot of depth into where we're going and why it's so exciting. But we're evolving I Am Tim Corey's courses into full programs. And this is something that when I started, I just had a YouTube channel. I just wanted to help people. And then people asked for courses, more content, more content. And so I created these courses that kind of filled needs. And wherever the biggest need was, I'd create a course for that. But we're getting to the point where the biggest ask from people is give me a full path. Get me from the starting point to a job. Get me from a starting point to a better job or a raise or whatever it is that your end destination is, but get me from start to finish. And so we're working on those learning paths. We're working on putting courses into those learning paths and filling in gaps where there are so that you can start and end with content from I Am Tim Corey in a way that makes sense, that makes it faster to learn, makes it easier to learn, and will allow you to get a great education. So my goal is to have a better education for you that's cheaper than a boot camp. All right. Now, also, there's even more free content coming, stuff beyond just the twice a week videos. We got some good stuff coming up. In fact, those learning paths I said earlier, we had this discussion early as a team where we talked about the fact that this content is gold. It's great stuff. It's the full path for how to get from start to finish learning C#, learning web development, learning C# web development, or whatever it is. Well, we could charge for that. We absolutely could. We're not going to. The base path, we're going to give away for free. The idea of how I get from point A to point B, that's going to be free because we can. Because we don't have to make money on everything. And that's not our goal. Our goal is to help more people. And this is when we can help people where maybe you don't have everything on YouTube, but if you have a path, you can figure out where to learn these things. Maybe it's docs.microsoft.com, or maybe it is on W3 Schools, or wherever it is, you can figure out where to learn individual topics. And since you have the path, you know what topic to learn next. And so I want to put that in your hands for free because I think it's important that everybody have the opportunity to have a great education. Now, we're also looking at how can we give away our content? How can we both sell our courses and give them away to people who can't buy them? And it's not as simple as saying, oh, you can't afford it, I'll give it to you for free. Because just like I don't want to be a collector's item like a Udemy course, I don't want to just give away content and have it sit there. I want you to value it. I want you to learn from it, to grow from it. I want to change your life because of it. And so we're looking at scholarships and how can we do that right? So it's not just a free handout, but it's an encouragement down the learning path. We're also in discussions to create more free courses. There's already 2 free courses on the I Am Tim Corey YouTube channel. That's the Tournament Tracker application, and also the Timco Retail Manager, which is in phase 3, which is actually the 3rd year that we've been building this. We're looking to add more free courses to YouTube as well. I'm actually in discussion with a couple different partners about potentially having them sponsor content so I can give it away to you for free. So there's a lot of cool stuff that we're looking to do in the days and months ahead. I can't wait to show it all to you. I can't wait to give you more content. And that's all because of the money that you provide to me through course sales, Patreon, YouTube, and so on. So that's what I do with my money. That's why I feel it's important. I want to provide high quality education to as many people as possible. So for those of you who contribute financially, even if it's watching an ad on YouTube or using the super thanks, You make that possible. So thank you. And on behalf of those people who are unable to contribute financially, but who benefit from your generosity, thank you very, very much. Thanks for watching. And as always, I am Tim Corey.